Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Next Level Real Talk Podcast, where we have conversations on the journey of personal transformation and the pursuit of lasting peace and happiness with Sheldon and David. And welcome back to another episode of Next Level Real Talk Podcast with Sheldon and David. Hey, David, how are you?
Doing great. Been a great week. How about yourself?
Doing awesome. Still on the countdown, waiting for
Baby watch.
baby
That's right.
watch. So
Mm-hmm.
we're excited about that, and we're still waiting. So here we are
Yeah.
recording because we didn't know if we were going to be able to record.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
We
going
were we were on the bubble this week talking about we just may have to skip a week, but
to, right.
the she has not had her baby yet. Not Jacqueline. It would be Jacqueline's daughter. Sheldon and Jacqueline are going to be grandparents,
Yep.
which would be awesome. So yeah, we're waiting. We're
So
hoping.
we're in waiting mode, right? So
Waiting
excited,
for the.
anticipating
Yep.
this little one coming into our lives. It's going to be beautiful.
Exactly.
But
So
anyway, we were talking.
if we do wind up skipping a week next week, that's why. Just
That's
so you
why.
guys know. Yeah, and then we have a guest speaker set up for the 13th. Well,
Yep.
the week the second. They don't know dates around here. So two weeks from now we have definitely a guest set up for it. So we will definitely be on then. But if we do skip
Super
a week,
excited.
yeah. So
Super excited for her and to hear her story. So,
yeah.
Corey, she's someone I'm really just looking forward to chatting with and getting to know a little bit. So
Yeah,
that's
Hanson still
exciting.
got some stories. That'll be good.
Yeah.
So, but here we are this week. So, still on Baby Watcher. Here we are, ready for a new episode. Hope everybody's doing well out there. We're coming into the fall season. We're getting ready close to fall, which is kind of nice, hopefully, because the weather will be nicer in Phoenix. I don't know about anybody else, but I can't wait for fall. So it's so hot over here.
In fall, I think Sarah.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm sorry, people, for out there. If you're in Arizona, if you're not from Arizona, you won't know, but you'll understand. We had a big old monsoon, okay, about a week ago, so we missed it. You missed it. It was 400-foot tall. Was it 400-foot tall? It was taller than that, they said.
Dude, I saw that in the news. I meant to reach out to you.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
huge. I mean, things are a hot mess around here. It's still a hot mess. Things are still being cleaned up. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was cool. It's like, of course, I'm going like, this is cool. I was like, this is not good. I go, this is cool. This is like the old days, man. This is they go, a haboob's coming up. It's not a haboob. It's a monsoon. It's a dust storm. They renamed it a haboob. I'm like, that's what they say. But the only place to have these kind of storms are in what was it? Not Egypt, but
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia. That's what it was, and that's the only other places they have them. And that's one of the movies.
The Mission Impossible one.
Mission Impossible. They had to have it there because they needed the dust storm.
Yep.
But they couldn't get them much in Arizona, so they went there to do it. And I'm like, could have come to Arizona and gotten it.
Yeah.
It was the wrong time of the year. But so we had a big one. So it's we're still cleaning up from all that. But but that's an easy cleanup. Just like, oh, my stuff got blown away. Okay. So I just had to tell you that it was kind of cool to have this big old
I forgot. So, but we were talking about what to share this week, and kind of it felt like it kind of came naturally for you. This event that you had done, I guess you said it was in the 90s, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah, because we're talking about just things that have impacted your life, and could be major, could be minimal. So back when I started teaching, I want to say 92. I think 91, 92 is when I took classes. It may have been started in 91. I don't know. I forgot. Quite a while ago. Just go there. Let's go way back. But I was still a young teacher, and at that, they always get the young teachers to do it, kind of everything, kind of doing this, doing that.
Do this committee, do this project.
Yeah. And when I started, Nancy Kloss, God bless you, Nancy Kloss, shout out to her because she's the one that got me in the education industry and made me realize what I needed to be. And at one point, she brought me into this meeting. It was all the department chairs, all the people I looked up to. And how dare I say this? All the older ones. Of course, now I'm them. So I thought, oh, crap, I'm that guy. But I walked into the meeting. I'll never forget. I'm prefacing this. I walked in the meeting. I looked around, and they're all, because I was late because I was up at camp. So I was coming in, and I walked in and was like, basically my mind's going, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
And I sit down, and they're all saying hi. So I was saying, we're talking, and Nancy Kloss goes, this is your role here. Just sit and listen. You know, if you have anything to input, but you don't have to say a thing. You're here just to watch. My mind's going like, what am I doing here then? You know, that's not what a person on the committee does. She was, one day you're going to be running this committee. You're going to be a part of this committee, and you'll be running this school. So I need you to be just here, just to see and listen to what's going on now, so that as we continue on, you're a part of it all. I'm like, okay, this woman's drunk. She's stupid. Me to help run a school, and here I am, 35 years later, helping run the school.
Yeah.
You know, the exact same school. And so, in all that, she saw all these things, and one of the biggest things that I wound up doing for her, it's called Multicultural Week, and I was like, oh my God, it's a whole week of activities, and it's trying to get more. You know, our school has every kind of culture in it. It's just amazing because the IB program brings a lot of different cultures, and so we decided
And
to
that
do a
can be a beautiful
multicultural.
thing, right?
Yes. Oh, very. It's awesome. It's so wonderful to have so many different things going on, and and so this thing was just, I mean, it wasn't just me. Understand, people, it wasn't just me, because this thing was huge. Every day we had something. We had a special schedule the entire week. There was still teaching going on, but very minimal.
Yeah.
Okay, you probably wouldn't get it done this time of era, because it's like you're taking too much time away from school. So I put together a committee, and we came up with several things. And uh, the final day, and I didn't tell Sheldon, the final day was a 2 hour lunch, 2 hours, which is not heard of ever. But it was everybody dressed up, multicultural. There were clubs, committees, food, all out there in the Ramada. You know, go taste this food, go try this, go pick up pamphlets on this. You know, it was everything for 2 hours. Music, you name it. It was so much fun. Media was there and everything. But on Thursday, the next to last day of it all, we had guest speakers. So it was a rotation. Everybody in the school. There was no teaching going on. No classroom. I'm sorry, no classroom teaching going on.
There's a lot of
So
deep learning going on there.
yeah, so it's a different learning. So I said,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
So there were 4 rotations. Okay, you had 4 different groups. Okay, 4 different cultures were talking. Okay, and I honestly, I can't remember them all. I'm not going to lie to you, so I'm not going to try to say these 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you the one that really impacted me the most. This gentleman, I wish I could remember his name. If I pull, I'm sure I have all the paperwork still sitting on my computer somewhere. Um, uh, he was a Holocaust survivor, and so when I'm doing this, yeah. So he when I was talking to people, so obviously I didn't know him, but it was a connection of a connection of a connection. They said, hey, let's reach out and see if this person could do it, and he said yes. And so, and he was very, I don't want to say the word timid. Okay, I understand because I don't know his feelings, where he's coming from, but it was very. He didn't want it all announced. He didn't want it all, hey, so and so, David Smithers is coming to North High School to do this. Because I don't want announcements. Because I'm gonna come and I'll talk to them, but I don't want it on pamphlets everywhere.
Yeah.
Because of the
You don't want to
fear.
make a big show of it.
Yeah. One, he was humble about it. 2, he didn't want people to come and protest or anything. He's had that fear.
Yeah.
Because of what he'd lived.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that. And so I got to meet him personally, obviously, because I was head of the committee. So I'm just in awe of this guy. I'm obviously older. This is in the 90s. So, and we're talking, just a nice, gentle man. And we're talking, and he had a long sleeve shirt on. And we're talking a little bit, and he pulls down. It was actually on his, no, it was his right arm. He pulls it down, and he shows me his number. Because that's my Holocaust number. Because that proves that I was a Holocaust survivor. And I'm just like, wow. Oh my gosh, that's what people talk about.
Yeah.
They have a number for life. They're a number for life. And the things he talked to those kids, and he was just so calm, and what he went through, and the kids were so in awe of him. And he showed them too. He goes, I have it right. He goes, if you would like to see it afterwards, I'll show it to you. It's not something I'm proud of, but I've learned to take it in as that's who I am. He goes, it brings up dark memories, sad memories. He goes, but it's a memory that I have learned to live with and to accept. And so he's kind of, just the way he talked and the way he was so good with the kids and just positive. I'm going like, this guy went through total hell. Man. And here he is, willing to tell his story to all these children.
Yep.
So it was really cool. So that was a huge impact, between him and Rosa Parks. Those 2 were the most, I mean, obviously, meeting those 2 people in the world.
That's wild. That is cool.
Yeah. So that was a fun time. that whole week, multicultural week, and I'll tell you, we started out with a couple songs, and I know we're going to talk about these down the road in a bit. Um, the first day we had an assembly, three different assemblies. All the kids came in, and I talked about it, what we're going to do, where we're going with it, and two of the songs that we showed a video. Two of them were "Black or White" by Michael Jackson. If you've never
Mm-hmm.
seen that, we'll post these at the afterwards. We'll post them. You can click on them. It's a great song. I mean, Michael Jackson had some pretty. He was
Beautiful
pretty
songs.
deep. Yeah,
Beautiful songs.
he's talking about life, it's great talking about. It doesn't matter for black or white.
Yeah.
He talks about, hey, from my brother, I don't care for black or white.
And
You know,
I feel like if I could just jump in there real
yeah,
quick,
okay, yes,
this whole thing, couple of things that come to mind. Um, One is, and we've talked about, uh, the small act of kindness, of being compassionate, of empathetic, of tenderness, of whatever that is, just a
hmm
smile or whatever, a word of encouragement, and how those small things can sometimes have impacts,
yep,
that can last forever. It's pretty clear that you're meeting, this guy
yeah,
through seemingly random circumstances, right? Putting together this forum, having this, opportunity. And, nowadays, I don't even think we could pull that thing off,
oh
right?
no,
They'd call it
I don't think
woke
so
or
either.
whatever, and
hmm
it's like, how do you look at diversity? I've, always looked at that as a strength, like that's part of what makes America great is our diversity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's part
hmm
of our strength is having, even just if you look at it from a business perspective, having multiple inputs and different frames of mind and perspectives makes you a better business, makes you
hmm
stronger, right? And as a country, it makes us stronger, right? Having, and how you frame that. Um, and then with this Holocaust guy, you see kind of the impact of othering is what I call it, right? When you
hmm
other somebody, another group, they're other, they're the problem.
yeah, hmm
They're wrong, we're right. Whatever that is, whether it's politics, whether it's economics, whether it's um, immigration status, whether it's race, it doesn't even matter whether it's, you know, smart people, not smart people, whatever it is. I don't even, you know what I mean? There's a
yeah,
million different ways you can create this separation of otherness,
hmm
and the extent that we as humanity, human beings, are capable of going and doing. What is the
hmm
ultimate extent? And it feels like that, this man who survived the greatest thing, you know, is an example of how far we as humans can go. And again, even when we talk about that, it's like you can't, if you say, "Oh, they did it and I would never do that." Now you're just judging and othering.
hmm
You know what I mean? You're
and
doing that thing.
and
We are all have within us this capacity to do both incredible good and horrific,
yeah, and
evil.
as you say that, he never blamed
Yeah.
anybody. He just talked about his story.
Yeah.
He could have said, like, they did this to my
Yeah.
family, they did this to us,
Yeah.
could have been that anger.
Yeah.
But he was just like, this is where I'm coming from. This
Yeah.
is where I was.
Yeah.
This is where I went. This is where I am. And it was just so calming to hear someone that could have so much anger.
Yeah.
He could have just hated everybody and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there was still that fear within him because some things I told Sheldon beforehand, I don't want to mention them now, but there were things that just he had he said, I don't want
Traumas.
this. I don't want this. Yeah. And he didn't want it. He goes, I just don't want to have anything come of this. I just want to be able to tell my story.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a private situation, but it wasn't announced
Right.
that he was going to be there because
Yeah.
he had fear,
Yeah.
which I get it. But it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go into the dark alley and come in the back door. He came in, front door, but just calm.
Quietly.
And he didn't do the othering,
Yeah.
at all, which he had the right to. He had
Yeah.
total,
Yeah.
if anybody has a right to, he has the right to.
Exactly. If
Yeah,
there's
I'm
anybody that
sorry.
can say, "Hey,"
Yeah, right. He has ultimate right.
yeah.
And as we were talking, Sheldon, I just want to go back and then I don't want to just call him the Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
I want to call him a Jewish man who had a great life and
Yeah.
enjoyed his life because he dealt with some things and went through
Yeah.
some things. So I'm gonna. So I don't want to offend anybody when I say he's a Holocaust survivor. That kind of brings up the negative, but a Jewish man that went through the Holocaust.
Yeah.
That's all I
And
will mention. We talk
and
about it in a minute.
probably somehow, and Viktor Frankl, that guy who had Man's Search for Meaning, and he was a Holocaust survivor and wrote this,
Mhm.
that book, Man's Search for Meaning. It's a beautiful book, you know, who went through the most horrific things imaginable, right?
Yeah. hmm
And to me, those things are these beautiful, powerful examples of the ability to stay in the heart.
Hmm.
Like, can you stay in the heart in spite of and despite all of the external circumstances that you're in? And this is what we talk about in the podcast all the time, right? That it's
Hmm.
like stop, drop, and breathe. You stop your mind, you drop into your heart, and you breathe, right? And you relax. And can you do that regardless? And we just talk about bills or traffic or work
Yeah.
stuff, right? These minor little things, but they're these external circumstances that create a stress trauma response. And
Hmm.
can you breathe through those things, and can you drop into your heart? Here's these examples of people that have been able to do that in the middle of the
Hmm.
Holocaust. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And he had a reminder every day.
Yeah.
He was reminded, not like all
Yeah.
of a sudden something triggered it. No, he's watching his hands.
Yep.
He sees it every freaking day.
And
He had a reminder. So
and
he had
not
to be in that space.
and not to turn hard,
Hmm.
cold, angry, bitter, not to other, which, like we were laughing about earlier, like if anybody had a right to do that, it would be him, right?
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like,
I'd be
okay,
like,
but
oh,
he
I get
but
it.
he didn't do that, right? And he made
Uh-uh.
that choice
Hmm.
to, and whether it's through his faith or whether it's through um, some other practice that he had, uh, he made some choices and decisions about how he wanted to look at both his circumstances, his history, as well as
Hmm.
his life, and how he wanted to live it. Right? What a beautiful, powerful example, right? That um, that we always have this ability to make a decision about how we want to be in any given moment. Um,
Yeah, and he was more proud of who he was and who his faith was,
mhm,
and just life, rather
mm,
than be angry at some other person that did something to
yeah,
him. Hey, I'm
he
still who
didn't.
I am. Wants him to know who he is. Yeah,
Yeah, he didn't want that past, that history, to define who he was.
exactly.
He's
Yeah,
proud of who he was now,
it's
but
part of
that's
it.
independent of that.
Yeah.
It's how he's living his life in this
Hmm.
moment. Uh,
And that one thing made a difference for him. And there's
yeah.
a and that
But it
brings
also
up
made a difference for you, right? Because here we are 30 years later talking about this guy. You know
totally.
what I mean?
And there's
And
a quote. Okay, okay, Facebook has everything. There's these stepping stones. This works perfect. There's stepping stones. Okay, it says instead of carrying your past mistakes or situations, like for him, instead of carrying
mhm.
that past issue of life around with you, place them under your feet and use them as stepping stones.
Wow,
I saw that the other day. I'm like, whoa,
that's
because we
beautiful.
talked about that a lot. It's like, don't condemn what I was before. Just like, okay, that was a stepping stone to get to where I need to be now.
Yep.
And I'm not sure what he went through.
Yeah.
I could never know what he went through, but it seems like he took those and said, okay, this is who I'm going to be. This is who
Yeah.
I was. I can't stay in that world, but I'm going to take this. I'm going to move forward with my life,
Yeah.
even though I have a daily reminder of who I
And
was.
we
You
say
know,
this knowing that it can be incredibly difficult, and that's a journey that we all take. We say this with absolute love and compassion because all of our journeys are different, right? And that's not always an
hmm.
easy thing to do,
No.
right? To put down the swords, put down the
Hmm.
guns, kind of allow yourself to be open. Um, Course in Miracles Course in Miracles has these lessons, and I always talk about that because that's one of the most influential teachings for me. But one of the lessons, they have 365 lessons. You're supposed to do one a day, and almost nobody can do one every day. But one of them is, I think it's the lesson. It says, "In my defenselessness, my safety lies. In
Oh.
my defenselessness lies my safety." And I remember
Oh
doing that
wow.
lesson and going, "What the fuck? How are you talking about?" Like, because here I am, this dude, like, trying to live the tough guy life, whatever, was in the military, did martial arts, all this stuff, right? I might have talked about this in previous podcasts, but it was just like, it was such a mind screw for me, which is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to, right? Because it's in the heart, in the openness of the heart, in the vulnerability, and that willingness to surrender, and that willingness to release, and that willingness to forgive is when the connection happens, right? And that connection is where your divinity is awakened, right? Where that peace that passes all understanding, all of that stuff is happening down here, and you
Hmm.
kind of have to let go of everything to get there. And so but I remember at that time just like that don't make no sense whatsoever. I
No.
ain't doing that. That's bullshit. Fuck you,
And
man.
it's hard.
In my
It's
defensive
hard.
list,
Yeah.
my safety lives. Fuck you, man.
And that's where that again we talked about that dog laying on their back.
Yeah,
Totally vulnerable. That's
yeah,
my defenseless. They're like, hey,
yep,
I'm willing to just step away,
yep.
at that point. Um, and I'm going to jump. I know we're all kind of jumping all over the place, but yes, I have some paper. That's why you see me looking at some stuff. Um, Another song that we had, I talked about, "Love Can Build a Bridge," and people, you got to watch this. Every time I see it, I tear up because it's the world today, and this was
Yeah,
1990s,
yeah.
by
When
the
you're,
way.
yeah,
It's a judge. The,
the
the, the
Judds.
judge wrote the song. Yeah, "Love Can Build a Bridge," and by the way, I got to see it in 3D. It was like it was rocking. I mean, every kid at school at North End saw this in 3D. Again, I don't know how the heck I pulled this off, but I did. So proud of me, by the way. So the first part of the song says, I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes up on my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in the sea of broken dreams when all your hopes are sinking. Let me know, let me show you what love means. And it goes on, then it says, the main chorus is, love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? And it's all about, and if you watch the video, it's about, and I'm going to say it this way. Sorry, people get up, won't get upset at me or whatever. White man, Indian man. That's what it is, and,
Yep,
and it's the world, and we still hear this today.
yep,
And there's an argument going on of some sort, and you see it play out as they sing the song,
yep,
and there's always an eagle flying around, and that's the symbol of toogetherness.
yep.
And so there's
Or
a
shifting
fight.
perspective from a higher perspective, looking down.
Yeah,
You
that
might
could
see
be
it
it
play out
totally.
differently.
So that's a good point. So that it goes on, and it's a pretty interesting thing, and then obviously it comes around to where it's a good thing. But I love this one part, not in the main stanza, but it says, um, uh, "Can you join the tribes of man? I would give my heart's desire, so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me." And so we may say, hey, this has got to change. This has got to work. You got to fix this. The other, what do you call it?
Hmm.
Othering? The
Yep,
othering. You need to fix this. You need to do this. No, it begins with you and me.
yep,
Think globally. Yeah, we want to fix this, but it begins with locally. How can
yep,
I be me?
yep,
And that brings me to the other song, The Man in the Mirror. He
yep,
says, it begins with the man in the mirror. Well, who's that? Me.
yep,
It begins with you.
yep,
So we as individuals have to work on things to bring things together to help others to bring the peace. If I
yep.
can say that. I'm not getting
The,
political peace. I'm
the,
just saying
that
within
song that,
ourselves.
that Buddhist monk says, "Be the peace you want to see in the world." Right?
Yeah.
If you want to
Hmm.
see peace, you have to be peace first, right? Especially if you think about it from an energetic standpoint, which I'm all into the whole energy thing, right? If
Yep.
you're looking at the world and just pissed off at the whole world and othering the whole thing, and they're stupid and they don't know what they're doing and they're wrong and their politics are
Hmm.
wrong or whatever it is, and you're judging the whole thing, you're just in anger,
Yeah.
that aspect of fear, right? So you're in that fear energy, and that's all you're emanating. It's all you're connecting to. And can you shift it into a love based energy, right? And holding
Yeah.
space, and you have to do that for yourself first. We always talk about that, right? So that's in your own field, right? The man in the mirror. You're looking at yourself, and
Hmm.
you're dealing with the stuff that's coming up within you. And again, it's not an easy thing to do, right? And so many of us have really intense journeys, right? But that's where it starts. That's
Hmm.
the most important journey that you can take, is how do I do that, and
Yeah.
there's all different schools, all different ways. I'm sorry, just kind of non sequitur,
Nope.
but the song, when you're talking about walking barefoot, till my
Hmm.
feet bleed. Did you know that the Pope right now, he did that in Peru?
Oh, really?
There was some villager who came or something, and they didn't have shoes, so they said, please come to my house. And so he decided not to wear shoes, and he was a new priest, and so he had never walked barefoot like that. And by the time he got to the house, his feet were bleeding
Oh,
because
wow.
he had walked like
Oh,
2 hours across
interesting.
the Peruvian desert or whatever like that, and his feet were all bleeding. And then they came in and they said, wow, you're one of us. You
Oh, wow.
understand us and you connect to our journey. So he talks about that. He's really um, it's beautiful, you know the the simplicity, again, simple gestures and things like that, and how impactful they can be, right?
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, as we talk about, we're not trying to. Well, world peace would be awesome, but that's what we're talking about right here. We're saying go with, so now bringing it back to perspective, these three songs, which we'll link into the video later on, all talk about just within you. It
Yeah.
talks every single song right there. By the way, I'm looking back and it's going like, wow, that was pretty cool. I didn't realize it back then. I wish I would be able to do this now
Yeah.
because I would see it so differently. But it's all talking about you and me, about how we can get along together.
Yeah.
And it's not talking about okay, in the love can build a bridge. It's not talking about how the president can change things or how another nation can change things. It's talking about how those two people in that video
Mhm.
or two groups can make a change within them, which makes a change with others, makes a change
Yeah.
even more. And so for us, as we're talking about these, how it relates to us, someone that can make that impact, you could be that impact on somebody's life. Or someone could impact you and you're like, okay, now I feel this. This is where I need to go. Stopping, dropping, and breathing and just listening and thinking as you're going through this, going, okay, where am I? How can I make that difference? How can I make that peace of a situation that's going on?
And
If you
what's
see a problem.
preventing me from going into that place of peace right now? Like, what's
Mhm.
coming up within me? Am I
Yeah.
afraid that, if, this happens, then I'll be worse off? You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
oftentimes, certain events that you see in the outside, oh, if the economy goes like that, then my business might fail and then I can't provide for my family. So um, there's always reasons why your body is reacting the way it is, and then your mind, right? And so
Hmm.
if you can connect to those things and learn how to sort of release some of that and come into that place that feels the peace, uh, you actually end up making better decisions.
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
you're
Because your mind's calm
clear.
and it's not getting everything
Yes.
much more clear, calm and
Yes.
clear. Yep. And
Yeah.
the coming within to yourself and finding that just calmness and peace helps you to go to the next situation, next person, and bring that calmness and peace
Mm.
where they may need it. They may be in that stress mode, and you're going to help bring them down to that peace. As it says, it begins with you and me, the man in the mirror. Okay, it's all right there. It's us.
Yep.
So you don't know what impact you're going to have, as we've said many times. Uh, that gentleman didn't know how he was going to impact me.
Yep.
He didn't know that at all.
Yep.
When I met Rosa Parks, just her and I one on one, she didn't realize how much. I mean, yeah, she signed the book for me and says, "Hey, you're gonna do great for kids one day." She didn't realize how much that truly impacted my life.
Yeah.
Of course, she does know how she impacts life, but me personally,
Yeah.
she didn't know what it was going to do to me, really.
Yeah.
But those two things, just those people, of just how they were, and
Yeah.
so you never know how you're going to impact somebody.
Right.
And so if you can, just see things from a different perspective at times
Yep.
and see things from another person's perspective and say,
Yep.
oh, that's what they're going through. You never know what someone is going through that day.
Yep.
You know what situation is, what the problem is, what the hurt is. Um, your peace and calmness can maybe help them kind of come to some peace and calmness, or just say, hey,
Mm.
that was nice. That person smiled at me. That's all I needed today was that one person to smile at me, and I'm okay today. So you never know what difference you're going to make.
The power of your
So
presence.
yeah, that's it. Just the power of that presence. So think about that every time you're going through something like there's maybe a stressful situation. Calm. Go. Do that. Stop, drop, and breathe for a real quick second, and say, hey, how can I help myself, and how can I help everybody else around me right now?
Yeah.
Be the difference.
Yep.
Be the difference and the calmness in the situation. So, which would be awesome.
That's beautiful. I feel
Yeah.
like that's a wrap.
Yeah, that was good. I like that ending on that one.
Yep.
What did I say? Be calm. Oh,
Be
what did
the
I say?
difference or be the peace
Yeah,
you want to see in the world.
yeah,
That's not tongues, but
yeah.
be the difference you
Be
want to see in
different.
the world.
Be the difference. So your homework, as I'm saying, and if you see me with papers and looking at things, I'm writing and looking at things. Um, so I'm gonna start off and say, one, uh, this week, realize if you're othering.
Yeah.
If you're blaming somebody else, say, whoa, I gotta stop on that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like, okay, I'll never other again. Well, yeah, you will. So you always other, but just catch yourself. So
Yep.
so that the first thing is catch yourself othering, and know that it starts with you. Okay,
Yep.
all of the calmness is going to help start with you. So
And
you calm yourself.
know that it's almost like the Dalai Lama talks about it, like I'm selfish because when I forgive everybody or whatever, then I'm happier. So he's kind of like, it's almost selfish. You can make it like
Yeah.
it's a selfish thing, because you will, if you can let go of othering and you can let go of all this, you will actually, and you can connect into your heart, you will actually be happier. You'll make better
Yeah.
decisions and you'll be happier. Right. So
Mhm.
that's part of this podcast, is how to, lasting peace and happiness. Right. So
Yeah.
how do you find that? All of this stuff we're talking about ultimately makes you happier.
Yep.
Does it mean you're going to solve the world's problems? Does it mean you're a better corporate citizen? Does it mean you're going to be a better husband, father, whatever, mother, sister? All of those things are part of it. But the bottom line is you will actually be happier.
You will be
So
happy. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
why.
Peace.
If you want to be
Yeah.
happier,
Mhm.
do these things
So then,
and they can help.
so yep. Third thing is just be the difference. Be that difference. Be the
Yep.
positive difference. And then listen to the 3 songs.
Yeah. We'll have the 3 songs there.
Yeah, we'll link them in there. They're cool to watch, and you'll
Yeah,
be
they're
like, "Oh, I
beautiful.
remember those." And some of you that are of age, you'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I remember that song. That was cool back in the
Right? They're
90s."
like flashbacks. Some of them will be flashbacks for some of you. And if you're younger, you might be like, what's that?
Yeah. And I will tell you, if you have 3D goggles, whoever has, I don't know who anybody even has, but if you do have them, watch a 3D version of "Love Can Build a Bridge." It's cool. It's really different. It makes it a whole different thing. So, so on that note, make sure and know that everything begins with you and other people. It begins with you and me, okay? And it's that man in the mirror. So it's you. So look at that in the mirror and say like, hey, I make that difference. And then you and somebody else can make that one difference and help make a difference and help make a difference and help make a difference. So
It always starts with
definitely.
us.
Yep. So hope you all have a great week. Keep that smile on. We're hoping for keep positive thoughts for Sheldon and the baby to come.
Yep.
So we're in there. So we're there. So hope you guys have a great week. Keep that smile on.
Yep. And like and subscribe and share this with friends. Give us a comment if you want. And all that stuff really helps us get the word out. So we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.